In real life, Downton Abbey is actually a building called Highclere Castle. You may think you know all about it from the show, but here's the inside scoop on the real castle, from its ghost stories to its eponymous gin brand. The Earl and Countess of Grantham, Robert and Cora Crawley, are the stars of Downton Abbey who run the fictional estate. The real-life castle is looked after by George Herbert, the 8th Earl of Carnarvon, and his wife Fiona, the Countess of Carnarvon. Lady Fiona is the Earl's second wife and was formerly an accountant. The couple have a son named Edward. The Earl is also the father of 2 children from his first marriage. Lady Carnarvon explained to Time,
"My husband's family have lived here since 1679.
Lady Carnarvon hosts her own blog and podcast about life at Highclere. She is also the author of several nonfiction books about the property. Along with his wife, he carries out the day-to-day business of running a busy estate. The modern-day home doesn't need the level of staffing that Downton Abbey did, but the Earl and Countess do have a real-life version of Mr. Carson. Butler Luis Coelho said, "Our team of butlers still dress in tails when looking after the family, and the food service remains the same. I think these are great traditions that we will always have at Highclere." If you've ever watched Downton Abbey, Highclere Castle's elegant facade looks just like you would expect in person. What viewers might not know is that the TV show and movies were filmed inside too. The interior includes the famous staircase that Lady Mary walked down in her wedding gown, the elegant saloon, and the bedrooms where many heart-to-hearts were held. Lady Fiona told the Daily Mirror that all the furnishings and decor in the house are in the traditional style. The crew didn't need to change anything up. They don't even have a TV downstairs. However, the servants' areas, like Mrs. Patmore's kitchen, were filmed off-site at a studio. Highclere's were deemed too modern. Filming in a house where people actually live seems like it would be a bit difficult, but it all worked out smoothly. Lady Carnarvon and her husband stayed there with the cast and crew throughout the filming. Lady Carnarvon told the Wales Daily Post, "We've always lived in there together, throughout the whole thing, which is completely fine." If you wouldn't jump to connect ancient Egypt to a stately home in the middle of the English countryside, no one would fault you. But Highclere Castle actually has an extraordinary link to Egypt's famous King Tut, according to Forbes. The 5th Earl of Carnarvon, George Herbert, was a lover of all things Egyptian and traveled there frequently. He was so fascinated by the culture, and particularly ancient Egypt, that he used his fortune to fund the excavation of King Tut's tomb in 1922. The excavation was carried out by archaeologist Howard Carter. The Earl had worked with Carter on some previous Egyptian excavations over the years, but due to World War I, they had to stop their exploration. In 1922, Carter finally found King Tut's tomb, and the Earl of Carnarvon traveled to Egypt to witness the historic opening. Unfortunately, he died on April 5, 1923 in Cairo due to an infected mosquito bite. Visitors to Highclere, however, can visit an exhibition of Egyptian treasures brought back by the 5th Earl and Countess. According to Lady Carnarvon, some people who are fascinated by Egypt sort of spend hours down there. Lady Carnarvon has also written a book called Egypt at Highclere, which is available for purchase in their shop. Fans of Downton Abbey will remember the second season when World War I broke out and the castle became a hospital for injured soldiers. It turns out that there's a huge element of truth about the storyline. Highclere Castle actually was a real-life World War I hospital too. Highclere welcomed its first patients in 1914. Lady Almina, the 5th Countess of Carnarvon, was extremely dedicated to helping these soldiers and their families. In a World War I at-home interview with the BBC, Lady Carnarvon said, "She rolled up her sleeves and she turned this castle into a proper hospital, and she had a tremendous gift for healing." Lady Almina was certainly not expected to work in that way, considering her status and the time period. Lady Carnarvon said, "She was so ahead of her time. What gave her the freedom was that funny old thing called money." The real-life Downton Abbey castle even had its own operating room, specializing in orthopedic surgery. Lady Carnarvon told The Telegraph, "Most of the men who came here actually managed to survive." In 2011, the surgery area was recreated for an event called Heroes at Highclere. Featuring reenactors and stars from Downton Abbey, the event highlighted the castle's role as a World War I hospital. It also paid tribute to the brave soldiers who lived there. Highclere Castle is surrounded by beautiful parkland and gardens. The Earl and Countess of Carnarvon have used this to their advantage in creating their own brand of gin. The couple launched Highclere Castle Gin in 2019 after finding some historical recipes on the property. The brand has won more than 40 international awards to date, including Gin of the Year in 2020. The gin contains botanicals such as juniper that have grown on the Highclere estate for centuries. According to the Highclere Castle Gin website, the traditional method of indulgence involves a cocktail made with gin, tonic, a fresh orange squeeze and peel, and finished with a rosemary sprig from the garden. Lady Fiona Carnarvon gave some sage advice to Forbes about how exactly one's gin martini should be served. Overall, I would follow the advice of Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, who was a friend of the 6th Earl of Carnarvon. Martinis should be shaken, not stirred. The families at Highclere Castle have enjoyed a long-standing friendship with the royal family that still carries on today. In fact, the current Earl of Carnarvon, George Herbert, is the Queen's godson. Fans of Netflix's The Crown might remember Lord Porchester, or Porchy, who was the Queen's racing manager and dear friend. In real life, Porchy was the 7th Earl of Carnarvon and father of the current Earl. Lady Carnarvon told Hello magazine, "We've been very lucky to welcome different royals on different occasions." The publication added that Edward VII and Edward VIII both have made visits to the castle over the years. George V and Queen Mary also paid a visit to Highclere Castle in 1917. But the most important question might be if the Queen ever watched Downton Abbey. Lord Carnarvon told Hello, "I'm sure she's watched some of it." Another notable Downton fan is the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton. She visited the set in 2015 and shared her love for the show with The Guardian. Prince William is also a fan, having congratulated the program ahead of its final episode. A castle doesn't come without a good ghost story, and Highclere Castle is no exception. The Countess of Carnarvon told the Daily Mirror that the Downton crew found the house rather spooky. "I've heard stories of crew members running down the stairs and never wanting to come back." Lady Carnarvon is already the author of many books about Highclere, but she plans to write more about the castle's ghost stories. In a Radio Times interview, the Countess described the time she and her young son saw a ghost in their own basement. "I turned and saw a man coming towards us out of the gloom. He seemed slightly undefined. After rushing her son away, she called a monk to come bless the house." She never saw the ghost again. However, Lady Carnarvon later did some research and discovered that a Highclere Castle footman had engaged in a love affair with the Countess's nursery maid back in the 19th century. Sadly, the Countess's baby passed away while the nurse was away from the room with her lover. Plagued by guilt, the footman reportedly ended his life. This happened very close to the place in the basement where Lady Fiona saw the strange figure. If you're a Downton Abbey fan, imagine getting married in the beautiful setting where it was filmed. Yes, you can really get married at Highclere Castle. And just think of the wedding photo opportunities. As you might expect, COVID-19 put a damper on wedding plans. The castle's wedding website reports that weddings are temporarily on hold until at least 2024. But for those in the planning process or just dreaming of the future, it's never too early to get some ideas. Brides can even walk down the grand staircase into the saloon, just like the Crawley girls. Couples can choose a wedding inside the famous castle for 40 people, or an outdoor summer reception complete with afternoon tea for up to 80 guests. All of this comes with a cost, of course. People reported in 2013 that the base price for a Highclere Castle wedding was around $24,000. Interested couples can contact the castle via their wedding website to get all of the latest details. It's no surprise that running a vast English country house involves a huge amount of time and work. As custodians of Highclere Castle and its 6,000-acre estate, the Earl and Countess of Carnarvon certainly have their hands full. It's a huge labor of love for the couple, as the Countess told the Daily Mirror. "I'm incredibly proud to live here and keep its legacy alive, not to mention how we can bring joy to so many people from all over the world who come to visit Downton Abbey." She's in meetings all day long with various tradespeople and the gardening staff to keep the castle in good shape. The Countess told the Daily Mirror that due to increased tourism, they've had to add more staff. The atmosphere is very far away from Downton Abbey with the upstairs-downstairs separation. The cost of running such a castle doesn't come cheap. The Countess told The Telegraph that it costs about £1 million, or roughly $1.3 million a year, just to keep Highclere Castle running. Most of that goes to salaries, but simple repairs can cost an extraordinary amount due to the size and age of the building. In addition to the castle's tourism and special events income, the estate's land brings in money through its brands Highclere Castle Horse Feeds and Highclere Castle Gin. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.